Here's the itinerary. So you might have seen that we've done some work around ChatGPT before. We've done some past webinars on ChatGPT. If you want access to any of them, just email me if you don't have the recordings or anything, if you missed them. What we're doing today is we're going a little bit beyond ChatGPT's basic stuff and we're going to start looking at the custom GPTs, and then also look at, using some of those to say, what can we do beyond using ChatGPT to help us with job adverts? How can we go beyond that? Then we're going to look at some AI screening stuff. I'm going to show you our AI screening tool. It's not developed in our ATS yet. It's on a testing platform, but I'll be able to throw a CV into it and show you how it rates it and show you the type of feedback and just show you what's possible with AI. So you can sort of see, I think that the seed I'm trying to plant is what you can do now today and what's coming next year. So really short time frame, what's coming next year? What should your expectations be? If you're looking at technology, if you're thinking about how to plan and build teams and how recruitment's going to be looking in the future. And we're also going to touch on chatbots as well. We'll not do too much on chatbots. I've got a further webinar coming in a couple of weeks where we get deep into the chatbot stuff, if that's of interest, but hopefully we'll give you an idea. So it's very live. We've got some PowerPoint slides, but lots of it's going to be live. And like I say, I'm going to repeat again, ask questions as we go, guys, or add comments or observations. So custom GPTs, and I'm going to show you this now in a second. Now, these were released in November 2023. Now, November 2022 was when OpenAI released GPT 3.5, right? That was the bit where ChatGPT went crazy. It went to about 1 million users in 3 days. Everyone was talking about it. A year later, they released custom GPTs. So what that allows you to do, it allows you to, like, in simple terms, customize ChatGPT to a specific task. Because sometimes what people found is, in order to get ChatGPT to do what you want, you have to give it a really long prompt, and then it would give you something else, and you have to give it even more information. So, and maybe every time you're sort of trying to teach it and battle against it to give you the information you want exactly first time. Because a lot of the time it gives you something like a job advert and you end up spending, it's good, it's saved you a bunch of time, but there's still a decent amount of editing to do. So custom GPTs allow us to sort of get to that final product a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently with less prompting at the start. Okay, and it's no code. So I have this up to remind me every time. Let's go live and show you. So I've got ChatGPT here. Lots going on with it. So I'm going to bring up my slides as well, my little notes over here, just to remind me what we want to be talking about first. So what I want to show you first. So I'll mention, and I'm going to go a bit slower through this. We had some questions about this yesterday. So you've got great eyesight. I'm just about to get glasses. So I've survived 47 years without them. But you might be able to see it says hireful limited workspace down the bottom there. And it mentions that the information that we put into this, OpenAI, people behind ChatGPT, are not using it from a training perspective. So we can put anything in here and it's ours. They're keeping it just for us. But the key thing I want to mention is the workspace thing. So we have paid for ChatGPT Teams. Let me just see if I can find you a page for it. Teams. Here we go. That worked quite well. And what we've paid for, you've got to have a minimum 2 licenses, and then I think it's not very expensive. It's about $40, and then that's for 2 licenses, or $50 a month, something in that sort of region. I'm trying to find prices for you, but it's not showing me pricing so much, but it is about $40 a month, just to be clear. Now, what that means is we have 2 licenses, we share them, so the whole of the marketing team uses 1 license. So you can share licenses if you want, but that's up to you. You can buy individual licenses for everyone if you wish. Obviously, there's a bigger cost. The reason we've got the benefit for us is we then have our own workspace for these 2 licenses, so we can build these custom GPTs and put them on our workspace, okay? So we can make them available. So I'm going to just show you one here now. Let's go into it. Add copy by hireful. So this is, if you don't have workspace, you can build your custom GPT, but you have to put it on their app store for all of your staff to use it, okay? And then everyone in the public can use it as well, which might be perfectly fine. I mean, I'm not giving away any great trade secrets here by letting other people use add copy by hireful if they wish to, but maybe it's a bit tidier and neater just to have a Teams account and put it in a workspace. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Let me know if it doesn't. Now I'm going to show you how this custom GPT is built. It's just a matter of literally, there's no coding, just a matter of filling in, like uploading a logo, giving it a name, giving it a description. That description then appears down there, and then giving it instructions. There's a couple of other things that go on down here, which I can talk about a bit later, but this one is nice and simple. It's just these instructions. If you've been on my ChatGPT webinar, these are the instructions that I plug in every time to generate ad copy the way I want the ad copy to be generated, okay? So instead of doing that every time as a business, I can give you the instructions, I can create this tool, and then I can make it available to my company. So everyone in my company would use the tool and would all be creating ad copy in a consistent way. I don't need to give them a big long prompt. In fact, I could set up introductory questions such as, which is what we're going to move to next, because there's two types of scenarios when you've got ad copy. One is, I have a person spec or some boring document. Let me show you an example. So you might have something that looks a bit like, why is that not here? Downloads. Here we go. You might have something a bit like this. When it opens, up there, it's open over here. Okay, that might be you might want to convert that into an advert copy, or you may have nothing and you may just need to create an advert. Okay, those are like two scenarios we're going to look at for you. So let's have a think about that. So let me come back here. There's a specific one I've built just as an example for. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Internal ad copy. I'm going to try this one because I can't read the whole title, which is annoying. Okay, we can use this one. So what we've done here, actually, no, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one. No, same one. Oh no, no, that's not it. It's rather annoying because they've got the same title at the front of them. Okay, actually, I've just remembered I saved it over here so I can grab it. Here we go. Right, sorry about this, folks. Too many custom GPTs. They probably do need to organize it a bit better rather than sticking all on the left-hand side. It's not very helpful. Okay, so this is one I've built for a college, just an example college, just to give you an idea. Let's go in and I'll show you the instructions that are embedded within it. I'm not going to try and get you to read it here. That's too small. So we'll bring it out. It's a nice big. So it's for York College. Now, what we're going to do is we've got different instructions based on which department the role falls into. Because maybe our marketing department has a very specific way we want to talk about the college if the role is pitching towards our teaching staff. Whereas if the role is in the marketing department, we might want to explain a bit more about how we're marketing the college and who we market it to and things like that. Really basic example here. So it's going to start by asking which department is the advert for, and then it's going to ask paste or upload a copy of your person specification, and then it's going to convert it using these instructions. So yeah, that's everything. Or if the other conversation starts with, that's if they start the conversation. Let's go back to the start with, I have a job spec that needs converting. So if it says, I have a job spec, it says, okay, which department? And then it converts it. It says, right, upload the job spec, we'll convert it. The other way of doing this, it says, look, you might start with, I have an advert I need drafting, as in I don't have a person spec or any other document. And then it says which department, and then it will draft it. So we'll look at both of these examples. So let's go, I have an advert I need draft. Let me come out of preview mode and I'll just go update and we'll just use it live. Because preview mode, you only see half the screen, which is a bit annoying. Okay, let's just view the GPT. And I know there's custom GPT and GPT is lots of terminology here, so don't get too worried about it. Gemma, you've got your hand up. So if you've got a question, just post it. I'm more than happy to help you. Well, I don't know if you put your hand up accidentally. Okay, so let's see what I said we're going to do. So we're going to go, I have an advert I need drafting. So I'll just click that as the first question to start off with. And it says, okay, which department? Making it nice and easy for me. It says I made them A, B, and C. So I can just type in B, save a bit of typing for your colleagues. Okay. Now it's gonna ask me for more information about this title. Okay. So I'm going to grab this. What are the key benefits? I'm going to say 35 days holiday. Okay. Now, actually, if I redesign this, I would actually ask these questions individually. Because if you give a load of questions to people, they may not bother to work on it. So what I've done is I've just said economics lecturer. I've mistyped research. I can spell research. And then I've said, just please use your own research to suggest suitable content here. Please use your own research. I'm making out I don't even have a clue. Yeah, just to save time. But I'm also interested in seeing what it'll put together. And then I've said key benefits are 35 days holiday. And I'm going to say 6, nothing. Something. Yeah. Okay. So we've answered all the questions. And it will do its best now to generate us a lecturer advert using the internet. Okay, so we didn't tell it what the responsibilities were. We didn't tell it that. So it's a very loose project here now. You'd want people to fill that in ideally with some ideas. But if they've got no idea, then they could start with this and edit it backwards. Yeah, so you can see what you'll need, how it will reward you. So it's done in the style that I like. And we should have that. Yeah, we talk about the marketing department, so it talks about that. So it's a different introduction. So hopefully you can see that if you've been on my ChatGPT webinar, now this turns into like a tool that you could give out to your HR team, recruitment team, or maybe even to hiring managers to set them through a little process to get the advert copy you want. Yeah, and then maybe you take that and you like approve it finally and publish it perhaps. But you could use this for generating anything. You could use this for generating the person spec. You could use this for generating the advert copy. You could use a similar type of tool for generating interview questions. But you're able to, you're able to control what happens. Okay. And I'm going to show you in a bit how you can add even more control into it. We can take away the search the internet aspect of it, and we can make it just about the information you give it, using only the information I gave you. Do the following. But we'll get to that in a second. Now, let's do this again. I will start this again. So I will just hit refresh on this. I think that might work. Just drop that in and we'll just start all over again. I'm going to do it the other way around, where I upload a job spec and we'll see what it says. So I have a job spec that I need converting into an advert. What department is it for? I'm going to change up this time and say it's for the teaching staff department of this college. And now it'll ask me to upload my document, which I'm going to upload this lecturer person spec I found online in Google this morning, picture of Bath University or something. Okay, lecture in machine learning. What are the odds? I didn't even try that. It just popped out. So, okay, now we've got a different intro. Okay, which talks differently, and obviously it's summarized a lot of this information, made it fall within what we need. I'd still want to check that where it's taken out the, the requirements for the role, it's taken out the right requirements, and done those things. So it's almost like one of them sort of, if you see anything advertised on the TV for like investments and so on, it says, oh, bear in mind your investments can go up as well as down. With everything I talk about with ChatGPT, as good as I can refine it and get it producing what I'd consider really strong output, you still need to read it. It still has that potential of putting in something that's completely wonky, that isn't right. So don't cut, paste and publish. That would be a bad idea. Never do that. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea. Now, the other way of doing it, let me explore GPTs. Well, actually, let me get to my ones. This is what I've got here, actually. Yeah, so the other way of doing it is, let's drop this in. You actually give it your job specs and you teach it. And I don't have a great example of this because I've got an Excel spreadsheet of York College adverts. There's only 5 of them on there. But I can upload this in. So if you had all your job adverts from the last year or so, you could add this in and say, this is how we write adverts. This is the content we produce for lots of different types of adverts. So that's what I've given it. So let me show you what's going on at the back end here. So I've explained what it does. It uses a data set of 5 job adverts from 2024. We've got the same starting positions, similar type of instructions here. But now what I'm saying is use the following instructions below and the previous job specs from this employer that I've uploaded into the knowledge area. So I'm telling ChatGPT to use the information I've put into the knowledge area. I've built like a little database essentially for it to use as a point of reference. And you can see that's loaded in there. What I could also do, I could turn off web browsing here. So then it only uses the information available in there. It doesn't go out to the web and bring in anything else. If I ask it to create a lecturer advert, it will create something using that. So let me just go back and show you how this works. So let's just say I do not have any content. Let's just throw this in again. It will ask me which department. Oh, what's the job title of the role? I'm going to go electronics lecturer. Great. And it's going to work it out for me there. So it's designed it all. So now it will use content from those other guides, yeah, and the internet in this case. Okay, so there's a bunch of ways you can do it. So like I said, that's going to complete this first section, which just to remind you is just to show you custom GPTs and how that works. There are some limitations on it. You can, and I'm going to repeat, you can do all that for free. You can create custom GPTs for free, but if you want to share them with, if you want to, you want to save them and use them, you need to put them in their app store, make them available to the public domain, which you may or may not want to do. It's up to you. Now, the other thing I mentioned on the free accounts, I'll just touch on this. If I go out to, let's just open a ChatGPT homepage. By us using the Teams account, we're like on a premium user account. So we get to use the more advanced AI models. They're large language models, LLMs. So you'll see all the models are here that are available to use. Bear in mind, November 2022, but when this all kicked off and everyone got very excited about it, that was GPT 3.5. There's been several advancements since then, and obviously this will just keep on continuing on. So even on the free account, you get access to some good models, but I get access to the better ones and I get more access to them. So it doesn't limit me as much. So I don't know what the limitations are on the free account at the moment. It keeps moving around, but you will be able to do all of this. It might just be that your output, it's not quite as good as my output because I'm using a slightly better model and it doesn't have issues with things like UK English. So UK English is a big issue. You'll see that quite a lot when people use ChatGPT on the free account, that they might have an organization with a Z or color in this occasion. So if you use the better models, that problem goes away a bit. Other issues that we've seen is tone of voice. So hireful, our marketing team has been using ChatGPT for a while now, and hireful is quite a specific tone of voice. Our marketing is very precious about how we write and stuff on our website. And we've fed it our website, we've fed it lots of blog posts. It really struggles to get to our was a fairly sophisticated tone of voice that we use. Yeah, but I won't bore you with that. So, but it does pretty good at, you say I want a friendly, informal tone, it will do pretty good with those types of things. Yeah, quite often we go for, because this is a business setting we're looking for in, we go with a friendly, formal tone. Now we consider ourselves quite an informal business, but a lot of the prompts that we'll use will say friendly and formal, because if you go friendly and informal, it will be like, what's up? How are you all doing? It will be just two bloke in the street, So, okay, or even bloke down the pub almost. Okay, and then obviously this is, even as good as it is, you're still going to have to do the prompt, copy, edit, and then obviously do some editing before you actually put it to full use to like if it is. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea of like going beyond the adverts that we've seen before. I also now wanted to look at, more broadly, some of the other automations that you might be able to do. So what else can we automate? Salary benchmarking. Let's do a little test. Actually, let's keep this interactive. I'm going to come back to salary benchmarking. Let's have our first interaction. If somebody wants to post out a typical, job that's key to their business that they'd be interested in salary benchmarking, just give us a job title and a location. Hopefully not something too really niche, something fairly broad, but if someone wants to post that on there, I'd love to do that. I'll do that in a second. You can do some Excel admin. I'm not going to do that today because I've tried it and it was a bit wonky. I might have. It's quite useful actually. Thank you, Dawn. That's brilliant. I will jump on and do that. You were first, so you get the prize. So let's see. I did have some Excel documents here that I thought I could use. Let me just see. Example chat. Yeah, okay. So let's have a look and just go out to ChatGPT normal, actually was what was there. So I'm going to upload this file It didn't like this yesterday when I did it. So, you know, a little caveat, it might not like this. So let's find example charity data. Can you please enrich this data with missing info? Do not ask questions. Just update me with a table showing all completed info. So the reason I say don't ask questions, yesterday was saying, is this good? Is that good? I don't need it. So I've just given it a table of information here. You can see number of employees is missing, address, website, and I've said, please go away and, you know, update this. I'll go ahead and fill in the details. It tells you, it's a bit annoying. It's like a PA that you ask them to do something. It comes back and says, so I'm going to make you a cup of tea. I'm going to put a tea bag in the cup. I'm going to, you're like, yeah, that's great. Just let me know when the tea's ready. So away you go. So it will do its best on this. One of the things we found interesting, and because when we did the AI screening, we actually asked it and said, you know, the person must have experience of working for an SME. I'm going to show you this a bit later on. And it like struggled with that. But then when we said the person must have experience of working for, you know, it knew what an SME was, but we said use LinkedIn to identify the size of the company that the person has worked for, the person based on their CV, and use that to work out whether they've done a marketing role for an SME. And at that point, it works. So sometimes you just need to point it in the right direction. You might say use LinkedIn. If it's charity data, I'd say use Charity Commission website. But sometimes it will just figure that out for itself. And you can see it's updated it. Do you want me? I'll now proceed to gather the others. It's slowly there. It's telling us too much, as I said it would. But that's an example, just to show you, just using, and this isn't a custom GPT, by the way. We're back in normal ChatGPT land. And I'm saying, just provide me this, and away you go. Now, what I should have said as well is, don't give me any progress updates. Just don't give me any questions. I got rid of the questions. I'm just getting a lot of progress updates here. I could have said, just update me when it's all done. Okay, so you might have any random Excel document you could give it out to, and you'll find it will work through it. So that's pretty good. That worked quite well. I'm pleased about that. Now let's get a new one up and let's talk about salary, because Dawn has said contact center operator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to Indeed, Milton Keynes, contact center salary. So Indeed will have a page for this because, you know, Indeed has a page for everything. And sometimes we don't even need to go to Indeed, but according to Indeed, it's 2400, but actually it's probably old or something. Now let's click into this here. And you will see it's 23,000. Now, there are paid for salary data intelligence services that you can use. I'm aware of a few of them that I know organizations use when they're recruiting for, like, you know, Tesco will use it to ensure that they're paying their store managers correctly and this sort of stuff, doing like deep analysis of this. And Indeed is just looking at the advertised salaries of what it considers this role and similar role, its customer service. Let me just change that actually to contact center, because actually there is a distinct difference between the two things. We might get a more accurate contact center. Oh, apparently less. Okay. It's apparently less than minimum wage, or close to minimum wage. Okay, fine. Can you give me the salary benchmark for contact center role in Milton Keynes? Yeah, okay, so we'll go with that. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm just saying it's pretty good so far. It's going to get a lot better as it's. Who knows what it's come out with? And obviously, Dawn might be able to tell us whether she thinks the Indeed number's right, because you'll maybe know your competition a bit, or whether the ChatGPT's number's better. We'll see. It tells you, which is quite important now, it will tell you what sites it might look at, or you can ask it to get this information. Yeah, so it's looked at some other sites here. Contact center salary and skills, so a blog post or some other article there from the trade association perhaps. So it's done a bit of work on the two sites. We can see this one here. It's done a Bing search and a census. So okay, so it's made up. So it can do some of that stuff for you. We know that as well. So feel free to ask that. Here's an intro. I have ChatGPT on my phone. Once again, I'm going to keep saying it's absolutely free. Put it on your phone, and I use it all the time. So if I want to find out for example, I was just talking about, it becomes an instinct in the same way that, 15 years ago, Googling something became an instinct, So that's what, so where we were talking earlier was like, what are the limitations for ChatGPT on a free account? So I can just go to ChatGPT on my phone. I will do this now. Sometimes it converts what I say into Welsh. It's a really weird thing. I'll show you that in a second. I want to know what the limitations are if I'm using the ChatGPT free account versus using a paid for account on ChatGPT. So it takes me 10 seconds. It will convert the text into Welsh. It's done it again. Okay, good old Welsh, and I'll run it through. Now, what I can do here, I can actually refresh, because I'm logged in on the same account for both. I can actually refresh my screen. It will show me that update. It's in Welsh. I'm just going to type in English. It has this weird thing. I don't know why it keeps doing it in Welsh. I don't have a Welsh accent. I have a Milton Keynes accent. So, okay. So we've got a new chat going on here. Here it is. And told you, put my thing in Welsh, which is bizarre. It comes. Now I've said in English. Let's regenerate. It's having a little moment to itself. Here are the main differences. So I could go and read that on the internet. I could Google search that. Why would I do that? And I have the same thing all the time. So obviously this is a ChatGPT query about ChatGPT, but if I want to know what time does my local Tesco shut, I might ask ChatGPT instead of Google. Yeah. Now there's always a chance it might be slightly wrong. So if it's really critical, if I was driving 2 hours, I might be like, well, let's just check that. But it is actually really, really good at just firing questions through to it. Okay. So you can sort of see there are some other limitations. So mostly it seems about models. Yeah. But it's actually also slightly, these are maintenance of ChatGPT. So what or can I use ChatGPT for my free account? Because it's just telling me the differences on the two accounts, or the two models, what the two models do differently, but it didn't specifically say no. So that's the difference. ChatGPT 4 you can't use, but if you're on a paid account, then you can use ChatGPT 4. Okay. All right, so hopefully this is making sense to you guys. I'm not waffling on too much. Build us a training course. I'm going to show you this last one really quickly because I built out a pretty cool example of this. So let's get my one up here. So the training course builder. So what we do is, let me just show you how this one's built, because it is quite important. We've turned off the web browsing now. It only works on whatever files we upload. And my instructions will say, look, create a bunch of questions, use true or false, or use a select questions where there's 4 options, do 1 question at a time, feedback to the person to tell them whether they're right or wrong, so you get the general idea. Now let's show you how that works. Let's upload something on my computer here. I'm going to upload our GDPR policy, which is really exciting. Don't tune out yet. It is right. So here's our GDPR policy that we use. This is one of our HR documents. I can just upload that when it's done, and it will create some questions for me. So it's a very basic way of doing it, but you could, I mean, I could permanently put that document there and say, use this document, randomly create 10 questions for the person, and then you're like, that new member of staff maybe is getting those 10 questions randomly. Quick way of building a test or something. It's just an example. It will catch up with me soon here if it's not falling over. Tempted to hit refresh because it seems like it might be. Let me just push that button again. Refresh, see if it catches up with me. Here we go. So the organization must process personal data lawfully and in a transparent manner. Yeah, I would imagine that's true. So I'm going to say true. The next one I'm going to answer wrong, just so you can sort of see what it does. Only applies to current employees of the organisation. I know our GDPR policy. No, it applies to candidates, it applies to lots of things. So beyond just employees. So I'm going to say true. I think it will say that's false. Policy applies to applies to agency workers, interns, volunteers, third parties. Okay, so it tells me the answer. So you can sort of see. Easy little tool to build. And just showing you that as an example, that's a custom GPT, another little thing you can build and trying to just get your imagination flowing. Don't know what the actual use cases will be for your organization. Okay, so that's what we've done. We've gone now. If you go beyond that, I'm not going to do it because it'd be too advanced. It's too advanced even for me. But ChatGPT does connect up. I'll show you where it is. It does connect up to Zapier, which allows you to connect 5,000 applications. So, for example, if after completing that test at the end of it, it says, Adrian, you scored 10 out of 10, I could set up an action to say, so that create new action. This is where it does get codey. Yeah, I put my code in here and stuff like that. I connect it up to Zapier and do certain things and la la la. Then it could like email me a certificate saying, Adrian, you've now passed the test. Okay, so if you want it to go on to that next step, you're going to probably need a bit of help. But once again, that is all viable. There's lots of extra things that people are doing to hook up this tool with other things. And what's interesting for us, though, where we're going to go next, is all of this is nice, what you can do with ChatGPT, but you know what? We can bring all of this within the software you use, okay? So you'll see all this stuff coming into Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word and stuff like that. You'll see this stuff coming into your HR systems and you will see it coming into your ATS. So you put your salary on and maybe the ATS is able to tell you whether you're in the top 25th percentile based on recent data that it's read and understood, maybe also within your sector, or maybe also within your chosen competitors. So we're looking at all of that data intelligence stuff as well, and trying to build out what we're doing there with our own data set of job data. The bit I want to move to next, so I'll get to that in a second, is AI screening. And we're going to get to that as soon as I run this quick poll. Because I did mention our webinar is sponsored by Personio, so I'm just wondering whether any of you are looking or thinking about HR software at the moment. If you are, I'd be happy to introduce you to Personio. If you're a hireful customer, maybe you're interested in hearing more about Personio's integration with hireful, and away you go. So it's a quick question. I'll leave that on screen for 10 more seconds. Cough for a second, mute myself. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for voting on that, guys. You close that down. So let's talk about AI screening or AI shortlisting. We've got this coming now in our software. It'll probably be towards the end of the year, we're hoping. We're changing the name of it a little bit. Are we calling it shortlisting? We're calling it screening. Our vision is that it's about shortlisting candidates maybe into 3 groups: yes, maybes, and nos. And it could be that there's automation that happens with the yes group, maybe moving them up to the next step quickly. I'll talk about that in a bit. Or maybe the no group as well. There could be automation going to them. Talk about that as well. But firstly, I need to convince you, is this even going to happen? How soon could it happen? So let's have a think about it. Some pressures are happening already to you guys. You're going to know about this already. Job boards are making it much more easy to apply. Yeah, and many of you have turned on the options for like easy apply because you know your job board adverts really struggle unless you've turned on easy apply, and it's super easy for candidates to apply to you. But that means a lot more applicants coming through, some of which haven't read your advert, and those types of challenges. There's also AI tools available now for job seekers, and they're becoming more prevalent. You might have seen some of them. Let me know in the comments if you have. So people are able to like mass apply, maybe even tailor their CV a little bit, and away you go. The other side of it is like, if you don't start, if next year, and I do think it is a next year decision, you are not using AI shortlisting, your competition is able to like screen and action their CVs much faster. So let me talk about those yes group. If you apply to a role at like midnight on Sunday as an applicant, the AI is on 24/7. It can read your application. I'm going to show you a demonstration of that shortly now with 3 example CVs, a good one, a bad one, and an okay one. It can read your application, understand you're a good fit based on just your CV, and then it can put you in the yes group. And if you're in the yes group, it can move to that automated next step. It could be, hi, Adrian, I can see you're a really good fit for this role you've applied for because you've got this experience over at hireful where you did this. So I'm thinking, and by the way, this message would say, I'm the AI screening tool, or, maybe it's a WhatsApp message, maybe it's an email. You look a really good fit for the role. I've reviewed your CV. Maybe when I apply, by the way, it says, we will review your CV, instantly and give you instant feedback potentially. So if you're in the yes group, you get this email saying, tailored message saying, I can see you're a good fit from your experience at hireful, where you've done X and Y and Z. Therefore, I would, like to get you in contact with one of our human recruiters. Click this link to book yourself in. Okay, so quickly I've just gone straight through and been like fast tracked as a good candidate because I meet the criteria. Or maybe that there's a chatbot that reaches out to me on WhatsApp or something, and it needs to just confirm a few other things. You know, am I available on the shift patterns or whatever it is? So as you can see that so can I ask you 3 quick questions? And then if that's all looking good, I can get you moved up to our next step, which is a human recruiter or whatever we need to do. So you can see this first step, like the screening, the shortlisting and stuff, can just be massively accelerated. Even the bits where you've got to go out to a candidate and just confirm X or Y or Z, and then, oh, actually, they are a good candidate. And then you move on to that second half of your telephone briefing. You can sort of make sure that your telephone briefing only happens with people that are good candidates. So the chatbot stuff, we're a little bit still to come, but the initial screening bit we're working on at the moment, I'm going to show you it. Okay. More and more applicants eventually will expect to be able to apply and get an instant decision. I don't think that's the expectation of most applicants next year, but in the coming years, that will be an expectation. And obviously, if you don't have an AI process in the coming years, it will be a bit of an indicator because, you know, there'll be organizations who are positive about AI and embrace it, and there'll be others that are, you know, that are very wary of it, want to keep working. That's the way we've always done things. And I think it'll almost be easy for applicants to sort of make some big inferences about what an organization would like to work for. Are they forward thinking, basically, based on what their recruitment process is? You know, if it's like, complete this application form and here's a closing date, we'll be back to you in 3 weeks, you could probably make a decent stab that they're not using a lot of AI in the business. It's probably a little bit antiquated, and that might be fine for you, or it might not be. Okay, so let's have a look at the status quo. A couple of quick things. Job seekers are skeptical of AI when it comes to screening, so that's a negative. At the moment, all applicants are getting screened for the most part. Yeah, unless the role gets put on hold or something, you guys are screening these, you are getting through them, yeah? So we know that's happening. We also generally know humans will make better decisions than AI because maybe they know the market. Great. AI makes decisions with limited explanation, perhaps, and AI might be making biased decisions, which you hear a lot of. Okay. A lot of those things could be put to, let's go through them, right? So new technology always faces skepticism. And over the course of time, as social media landed, was all like, oh, I'm not going to put my picture on there. Now we're sharing lots of information on there. Some of us, not all of us. Normally, screening takes days and weeks. AI screening is instant. Humans make better decisions. Well, I think sometimes I'm an experienced recruiter in this market. We are looking for a head of marketing, but ideally somebody's marketed for an SME before. The AI knows which of these organizations listed on someone's CVs are SMEs. I don't. I'm having to check because they're just saying names of companies I've not heard of before, and I'm having to check. So sometimes the AI is even better than an experienced recruiter, and sometimes it's not. But it's getting better every day. Now, the other thing is AI can show you how it's made its decisions. I'm going to show you that in just a second. And actually now it's been shown that in many cases, AI, when you look at the end results of what happens when AI is implemented on the screening and shortlisting, it brings more diversity, more inclusion into the process. So less bias than us bias-ridden humans. So how we do it, before I will get in and show you this, we're using it to rate applicants. So we look at it for the manager when they set up the job to give out 3 questions, up to 3 questions. Sometimes 1 question is all you need. And that reduces, and we reduce discrimination by giving out the first half of the question to the manager so they complete the rest of it. Okay, so that's what we do. So we try and control the type of questions they ask. Because if you ask AI, I want someone who can work independently. Someone who puts on their CV, I like to work independently or I can work as part of a team, the AI will just treat that as yes, they can work independently because they've mentioned it or they've got some reference to it. Whereas you've got to put stuff that's going to be on the CV that is really tangible to how they work. So working out whether someone can work independently, you can't really do that from their CV. So we've got to guide the right questions and train managers to ask the right questions. Yeah. Okay. Let's go live. Let's show you this. A lot of conversation about AI. Let's show you what we're talking about here. So first up, I've dropped in this lecturer spec and it can give me the questions. So that's great. But actually how we prefer, so that can how it would run. So some of our customers, when we deploy this, we're going to run it in the background, rate every applicant that's going through, assuming they agree with this, rate every applicant. And because they might not want to see the shortlisting, they might not want that turned on because not everyone's as AI positive as me. That's fine. We'll run it in the background and then we'll go to them in 3 to 6 months and say, did you know that every single applicant we rated as no, you never took forward? And did you know we can predict you know, 88% of the people that you take for interview is yes. So we could actually accelerate that much quicker for you if you automated that. So yeah, we'll just monitor it and then match up the details afterwards, because we can automate the question generation. So what I've done is that it's a lecturer vacancy. I've put like 3 questions in here. So must have academic qualifications in computer science, must have experience delivering education, delivering lectures. These are very similar. They're not actually very good, but I'll take that one out. We'll just do 2 questions. Okay, now I'm going to upload my CVs. So we've got 3 CVs. I'll start with the bad lecturer. These are dummy CVs I asked ChatGPT to create. There we go, and I'm just going to run it. But what I want to show you is what the AI is producing. So firstly, can it rate, let me push the button on this. Fill in years of experience to get started. Sorry, I'll enter years of experience. Oh, I need to do that. So I'll say 5 years of lecturing. Fine, okay. So this is not our AI tool. This is the test platform that we build and do lots and lots of testing in. And then the final tweaks and stuff go into the ATS. So this isn't how it's going to look. I think that's important to state. Now, okay, we've got Chris's profile here, and now it will tell us it's scored him 35 out of 100. Okay, so he would be a no candidate based on that. And it tells us, look, his academic is qualified. So Chris's educational background is in business administration, which does not relate to this field. Let's see now. Chris's experience is primarily in private tutoring and small group seminars. So remember I said earlier, we could automate the rejection of your no applicants. Because what you could be doing is you could automatically reject them and saying, hi, Chris, thanks for applying for this role. Our AI looked at your application, but based on these 3 questions, we decided you wouldn't be a good fit, because these are the critical things for us for this role. At least we're giving good feedback to them on that front. And then obviously if there was something wrong, if Chris had used some sort of phrase that he understands to be a lecturer, but for some reason the AI didn't understand that to be exactly the same thing, he could at least push back on that if he wished to, yeah? So we're given an explanation. So you can see in every step here, Chris has done private tutoring experience, no specific examples delivering lectures, tutorials, or writing. So yeah, so Chris is not very good, okay? But you can see the information you get. So you can see there can't really be much bias here, because we send an anonymized CV up there. When we push this through, when we do it, we won't put the person's name, Chris Doe, in there. I'll just drop down as a dummy CV. But we anonymize CVs already here on application forms. We will then share that with AI and run this same process, if that makes sense. So let's do this again with our maybe CV. And I haven't done these CVs. I downloaded these CVs this morning. So I'm a bit of a anyone knows anything about my webinars, I'm a little bit of a last minute Charlie. So it's generating. So let's see what it's like. Here's Emily. So she scores 40 out of 100, so better than Chris, but still not great. Her qualifications are in history, so not relevant. I mean, yeah, she's not going to be a yes candidate when she's got, you know, she doesn't have computer science, she has history. This is like one of those things where they tell you that the PE teacher's teaching your children German or something. Okay, she has experience of teaching, so that's where she's getting some of her scores in. But let's see. So it implies experience of delivering lectures, but it doesn't specifically state it, so she doesn't score as high for that. Okay, so you can sort of see how this is all working through, and we can actually show the scoring that we give as well. And actually, this comes into something that's really important with AI screening, which is explainability. Yeah, if you're using AI, you need to be able to explain it to your bosses. This is how we're using it. Yeah. And actually showing it to them maybe as well. So like, here's an example I can show you, yeah? So we're building all of these summary explanations into the ATS so you can access it. And then obviously the other concept here that's really important is transparency, because you may want to share this to candidates. Like I say, you may share it in their reject email and just saying, look, you can read here below as to why you weren't selected by AI, because if you're using AI, they might be very skeptical of it, yeah? But actually, if you put it to them and say, look, here are the 3 questions, because you know full well there's lots of people applied to the role, haven't read it correctly. If those are the 3 questions that are really critical to your job, and it is definable based on a CV, it's not some soft skills like must be really good at building rapport or something like that, which would be hard to define. I wouldn't suggest putting that in, because that just comes down to whether someone thinks they can and put it on a CV. You should test that in a different way rather than a CV. Okay, last one, let's look at our good candidate. I don't know whether they're going to score well for this role. I just said, give me an excellent candidate from ChatGPT. So hopefully they'll give me an excellent candidate. They've got educational psychology. I don't know if I give it the right role, whether I give it the right role. Anyway, we'll run it anyway. I don't know if I mixed around the vacancies. I might have given it a different lecturer role to generate the CVs for. I can't remember. Anyway, we'll see. You can see the principle of what it's doing. So it's got 170 out of 300, 56%. So sort of in that maybe group. And I suspect, yeah, does not mention any qualifications in computer science. I think I flipped around the job spec at the last minute and didn't realize that I don't have to write CVs for the computer science lecturer role. However, you can get the general idea there. Yeah, you can see like this is an experienced lecturer who's got experience of doing like deep learning and assessments and all the things that are key. Unfortunately, they don't have computer science. So that is absolutely critical. Now, in the future, we might also say like that this question is mandatory. So if they don't have that, they can't be a yes. But also maybe that if they don't have that, they can't be a maybe. They have to be a no. We're just going to take baby steps with this and work through it and see how it works through. We'd rather put more people in the maybe list for now and work with customers, and customers will be able to tailor this a little bit themselves. So if customer wants to be a little bit harsher, we will be able to tailor that for them so they can auto reject more and quicker if they wish. But I suspect our customers are going to want to go slowly with this. And like with the yes and the maybes, we think that there's never really a scenario where you're a really good candidate could be a no. That's the sort of principles we're working to. Okay, let me know if you've got any questions on that, guys. I wanted to just show you it. This is, we've got some stuff that we've built around the back of it, but this is us using AI that's available to every provider, okay? So how we've deployed it is of credit to us and how we thought about these free questions and scoring and stuff. We've done a lot of work on that, but my point is other systems will be able to build AI shortlisting into their system, yeah? The key thing for us is its simplicity, its explainability, its transparency. These are the key things. So not everyone's going to do it in the right way. Some people will do it like a black box where it just gives you the score and it will say, oh yeah, there's an algorithm, it's clever, it's using machine learning, or they use some other phrase like that, and they won't be able to explain it to you. So I think it is important to be able to explain it so you can explain it to candidates and you know how you're using AI. Okay, I'm a little bit over, so I'm going to just do chatbots really. I'll show you a couple of chatbot things. We've got another webinar coming in regard to chatbots. Where we look at chatbots, if you're thinking about chatbots, I would look at the simple stuff first, okay? So maybe a chatbot for your career site, an onboarding bot for your onboardees, or maybe the onboarding bot is almost identical, I think, to your HR employee bot. Number of questions you get coming to your HR department. Where do we find this form? How do we do this? How does my pension work? If that's all in your handbook and other policies, you're going to be fine. So it's all about your data, okay? Because most people think you put a chatbot, it connects to the internet. What we're talking about here is no, the chatbot is not connected to the internet. The chatbot is connected just to your data. So let me just show you an example of that. I'm going to get rid of ChatGPT there. And I want to bring through this example here and this example here. Okay, so this is my the building of my chatbot. So I've just uploaded 4 documents to it. And actually, it's a HR bot. It's for all my staff, but could be used for employees as well. So it's got like acceptable use of IT. It's got the employee handbook, which is a really big document. It's like 100 pages or something. Ransomware policies, GDPR policies. And now I can ask it questions. So I can give this to my employees, and you can put this on WhatsApp as well, which is probably the best place to do it. And you can say, like, how do I schedule holiday or something like that. It'll check the handbook, there'll be some information in there, and it will tell us. And I'll say, what if my colleague has already booked off those dates? Similar dates. That's a very specific question. It may not be able to answer it, and I can't even type it. But if it can't answer a question, then it might be that you need to, if your colleague, you may discuss with your line manager. So it will not use the internet to find an answer. It will only use the advice that's already in those documents, yeah? And if you build out other questions that are not in the documents, you might just need to build out an FAQ document and you load that in as well, and you keep it up to date if it changes and things such as this. So that's as simple as it can be. It can be a really easy chatbot. We're looking at building them ourselves and rolling it out as a small product. For career sites and for onboardees and for this HR employee bot. But equally, so pay attention to that. We'll be talking to you about those products, but you can build it yourself as well. So bear that in mind. The key thing on it is just the collection of the data set. Tailoring the chatbot to answer in a friendly and formal tone and those types of things, very easy to do. And there's some other things you need to be able to do on reporting and stuff like that as well. It's all on my webinar in a couple of weeks' time we'll get into. But it's no code. So yeah, you're not going to be coding a chatbot. It is, you're configuring a platform. If that makes sense. Okay, now I am sort of finishing up. The last thing, this section is really quick, so just finishing up. I don't know why I figured finished on a negative. Areas you can't automate yet, but in this world, we need to also probably think about, what is not possible. So what's not possible includes, well, not possible, you wouldn't want to do. So at the moment, it is possible to, like, if a candidate's a yes candidate, you can use technology to reach out to them with a fully automated interview to go through a series of things, via text, or you can do it via video as well. There can be a fully video and you do it up where it reads out the question to them, they answer it. Depending on what they answer, might dig for more information. So there is tech there. I've not had a deep dive into it. I don't feel that that's phase one. I'm not even sure it's phase two. It will be for some organizations that have so many interviews they need, if you need to hire like 5,000 staff in a month or something, we had with COVID and stuff like that, we might need to hire, lots of people to do a certain job, and okay, maybe there's a case for it. So fine, if that's the use case, but broadly speaking, I don't think this is where we need to be just yet. I don't think a lot of candidates will respond very well to it. I think it can be damaging to not just your employer brand, but your overall brand if you start using AI, in the wrong way, where it's too impersonal. And yeah, so that's my view. Interested to hear what your thoughts are. One of the areas, and I've got a webinar coming up tomorrow on this around LinkedIn sourcing and messaging people on LinkedIn. But I don't feel like AI is really that great in that area. If any of you are on a premium LinkedIn account and when you're typing out a message to someone, you try and use their AI writing assistant, I think LinkedIn's AI is particularly poor, which is slightly bizarre because LinkedIn's owned by Microsoft. Microsoft's a big investor, essentially owns a chunk of OpenAI. So they've got friends with AI, but their own AI is terrible. But actually, at the moment, if you've got a really good recruiter who's trying to do headhunt, but there's only a short amount of people out there, headhunt really good people, that personalized message from a human at the moment is better, much better than what AI can do. AI will bridge that gap eventually, and actually a human will not be able to tell the difference as to like, this is a really cool message, really nice message, references my background, mentions some very specific stuff. So yeah, they won't be able to tell the difference in due course, but not yet. And then you're not going to use AI to onboard, to manage your onboarding. Once again, we might build a chatbot to, support our onboardees. They might wake up on 6 o'clock on the morning of their first day and go, I cannot recall for the life of me what the dress code was. They're not going to phone you up on your mobile phone at 6 a.m. on their first day, but they might ask the onboarding chatbot. So there's a place for the chatbot, but I don't foresee when you've got all the work that goes into hiring someone, you just handing it over to some sort of AI service to deliver those applicants through. I don't foresee that. And in the same way, I don't foresee AI negotiating final offers. These are, as you get further into the funnel, there's less applicants, but they're more high value, and you want to make sure they're treated right. That's where us humans will come into the process. No one wants to negotiate their salary with a robot. Okay, and I'll finish on that point. And we didn't get many questions, but that's fine. Hopefully, this was useful for you guys. I am available. We'll share the recording with you. I'll ask one last shout out if there are any other questions. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to me via email. If you're a hireful customer, we will be, towards the end of the year, talking to you more and more about AI shortlisting and how it's coming and what it's going to be, because we hope to launch it this year. And other than that, we'll just keep talking about AI. We've got lots of other webinars coming on other subjects as well. I do feel like this is an area where even if you're not doing anything yet, you need to be sort of building your plan, building your awareness and your sort of confidence in this overall area, so you're ready to sort of embrace some of this stuff next year. Right, I'll leave you with that, guys. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck with your AI. Cheers then. Bye-bye.